It's the Daily Dog.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. So it's been a few months since I first listened to music by guitarist and composer Jason Becker. And I've been very much impressed by his music, by his prowess on the guitar, and just intrigued by his story. He is living with ALS and still putting out music, and seems like an all-around great guy and very well respected in the music community. So when I put out my review of his song called Altitudes, he posted about it on his Instagram and asked me if I would be willing to take a look at some of his other music. And of course, I was thrilled that he reached out to me in such a public way. And I thought, for sure, we'll do that. And it's been on the list for several weeks, and I finally am getting to it. So today we're going to be doing Once Upon a Melody. And this is from Jason's album called Triumphant Hearts, which he released back in 2018. As I was reading in on this one, it looks like he received a lot of monetary support from his fans and supporters to embark upon making this album, which apparently includes a lot of very awesome musicians, including Marty Friedman, Joe Satriani, Steve Morse, Steve Vai, whole bunch of folks. And from the spot checking that I did, it's orchestral, or at least partly orchestral, and it's got some guitar stuff with it as well. So I am looking forward to listening to this piece by Jason, and I'm glad you're along with me for the ride. If you haven't heard this, you're with me. So let's see what this one is like, and let's go. Once Upon a Melody by Jason Becker. Lovely. Harry Potter-esque with the celesta and harp. Clarinets. Lovely. Huh. Okay. They're in. He landed in B minor. I think that's where he's been and departed. Love. This is really cool. I'm liking it so far. He's got a lot of sort of not fast moving, but pretty quick moving sonorities that are kind of all going with each other. It's a really interesting sound, and it's more tricky than you would think to pull off with an orchestra, but it sounds really great. And by the way, the orchestra sounds real. I did not catch in my read-in what the orchestra is or who the orchestra is, but that sounds like real orchestral players, and great stuff. We're going to keep rolling. Lovely solo string. It sounds like a cello in its higher range to me, that particular one. There's a guitar. I read that this guitar playing that's included here is Jason himself from several years earlier, that he's incorporated into this. Now violin, taking the lead. could easily be a soundtrack to a movie, right? Lovely. Still in B minor. Sounded like English horn, double reed, but lower than an oboe. The thing that he's done here that is so impressive is that he's got this lovely orchestral sound going, but you can hear all of these lines by the different instruments in the orchestra or by instrument groups in the orchestra very clearly. His orchestration is wonderful in that he allows space for these individual lines to be properly heard. Really, really great stuff. That was all over. That's a high D, I think, coming up. And they went from, he sort of pivoted around those chords and sort of harmonized it. It sounded like he went down a major third to B flat. And then it sounded like it was like a minor ninth over a C sharp or a D flat. And before it resolved there. Whew. I'm enjoying this. D major, relative major, back to the relative minor. This gives me kind of Vaughan Williams vibes, some Copeland maybe. These big melodies. Like full ensemble support. So they're back in B minor where they've kind of been. Guitar. Then a minor third. Same D that happened before. That's that same passage repeated. And they're in D major. Great sound. Sustained D major, but I'm hearing like C sharps, the leading tone, and like G sharp, the Lydian fourth, embedded in that. And what are the words? What's happening here? See? Right, there's that Lydian G sharp.
bring it up a bit and do it.
Who's the kid? Is that just gonna fade out? Huh. That took a turn towards the end that I was not expecting, y'all. But it's heartwarming. Who's the kid? Is that a recording of Jason himself as a kid, learning his ABCs? If any of you know the backstory to how and why that section at the end was included in that, how it connects to the rest of the piece, I would be interested in hearing that. It was an interesting choice. I can think about how it may have been or why it may have been put in there, but I'm hesitant to try to guess at it because I may come up with the completely wrong thing. But fascinating piece, y'all. Jason is much more than a guitar player who can play fast notes. He at least in my perspective, a lot of times you hear these musicians that have learned to be just virtuosic on their own instruments, and they end up becoming musicians that are known just by their ability to play their instrument with unbelievable facility, and kind of are reduced to that. He has risen above that to me. This music is mature. It's well constructed. It's got some motivic sort of guts to it that keeps coming back. It was really nicely layered in B minor and then in its relative major of D there towards the end. Some great solo lines, orchestral colors. I was very much a fan of hearing that. And, even outside of the channel, I'm going to be listening to more of Jason's music. He really does intrigue me. So, Jason, thank you for conversing with me online and for suggesting this piece of yours. I really did enjoy it. Cool stuff. And I'm sure that everybody here on my channel was a fan as well. So thanks everybody for being with us. This was fun, and we will see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.